At any school which involves young children and young people, the world that they are going to have to navigate in the future is one that has to be adaptable, but also one that gives children or young people the opportunity to fail and to pick themselves back up again. And so as long as we are developing those skills all the time in all aspects of what we're doing, then we're making sure our children are future-proof. One thing that we really want to make sure our children have is what I like to call at Highfield and Brookham an emotional toolkit. And when I talk about an emotional toolkit, we want to make sure our children are equipped for the world outside of here after year 8 or after year 6. And those children need to make sure they are able to talk about how they feel, that they are able to say, actually, I'm not feeling great, and that that's okay, and that won't be, and there'll be no fear of judgment if you're actually claiming that you may be having a bad day. And that they recognise when they might be not feeling great, and they recognise that in themselves, and they're developing their own self-help strategies to stop that anxiety or that emotional dip from taking hold. Within our curriculum, we have lots of opportunities for our children to improve their well-being. Certainly we have wellbeing walks, we have Lego clubs, we have in our break times, we have our older children, our peer listeners coming to talk to the younger children during break times, because that can always be a long void of time where children sometimes don't quite know where to go and who to be with. And that's tough because relationships and community are so important here. So within that emotional toolkit, again, going back to that, we want to make sure their understanding of how important conversation is and how important talk is throughout their time. Even when they get further up the school, when puberty hits and the teenager is kicking in, it can be a time when children might shut down, but we don't want to give them that opportunity to do that. We want to make sure they have lots of opportunities and know who the people are that they can talk to. So we talk about our say 5. Can they list 5 people that they feel happy talking to? We make sure we know that they know who they are. And there has to be someone that they feel they can connect to. So I also think the other important thing within that emotional toolkit is to talk about the fact that actually there are going to be times when you aren't happy, and that's okay. It's okay to be unhappy, because in life you can't be constantly up. You have to be able to manage those peaks and troughs of everyday life, and that's more real. That's a reality, and so for children to understand that it's okay is really, really important. We're blessed here at Highfield and Brookham with the most extraordinary environment, and there's no doubt that a good run around at break time or at lunchtime, but also through our sporting provision and our forest school provision, brings an amazing positivity to their mental health and their well-being. And I see the benefits of those ruddy cheeks and those muddy knees every day when our children come in from outside, no matter whether it's raining or hailing or windy. It's so important that they have that fresh air, and that's very much part of well-being alongside all of the other things we do internally. As a parent myself of 3 teenagers, I totally sympathise with every parent that is going through every stage of that journey. And it's not easy, and it's not, there is no really, even though there's loads of books in lots of bookshops about parenting, not one book will actually give you the answers to your child's development, because everyone is different. But big advice that I would give you, and this comes very much from our mental health first aid training that we offer here, and all of our staff are trained in mental health first aid, but we also offer it to our parent body as well. And we've just delivered one course very recently, and there'll be hopefully one course every term for parents to take part in, and I strongly encourage you to take part in that. But one key thing that I have learned as a parent, but also as a teacher, is that children must offload. They need to talk. But one thing they don't always want you to do, and as hard as this is as parents, is to fix the problem. actually they need to work it out themselves. You need to empathise. You need to say, that's really difficult. Gosh, you've had a tricky day. And that's it. They just want you to absorb it. You don't need to give them solutions, because actually what you're not doing is giving them the opportunity to work out the best way forward. And actually that's going back to that emotional toolkit of being able to spot where they need support, but also that they need to find those strategies for themselves. So that's my biggest piece of advice. Listen non-judgmentally, which is very much part of our mental health first aid training, but try, if you can, not to fix the problem, but let them try and find their way forward.